Hello, civilized people. Here we are again. You might have noticed that we did not upload a follow up video to the debate, and while we will share our thoughts, that is all news, we have moved on to a bigger and better story. Yes, my very stable listeners, another would be assassin has failed to claim the life of one Donald J. Trump. But this time, we are dealing with a truly elite assassin. The kind of assassin who gets into standoffs with the police in roofing stores. An assassin who works to get fake foreign passports. An assassin who is certainly on every watch list, given that he had assembled a private military company comprised entirely of foreign nationals. A true Trump hating, BLM endorsing, Ukraine supporting, Biden Harris loving, blue haired nuclear war enthusiast who somehow manages to look simultaneously both like Megan Rapinoe and Gary Busey. So brush off your polymer SKS. Embrace the attempted assassination of your political rivals as the new normal. And just accept the fact that victim blaming is back in fashion, provided you are the media. As today, on the Goss and Rome podcast, we talk about Trump Assassination Part 2, the Routh Saga. So, Colton, how are you doing today?
Eh, all of the events just they keep coming. If I were a normal person and didn't work in politics, I would have stopped paying attention.
Yeah,
It's too much.
honest. We'll talk about the debate at the end because it's almost insignificant compared to this. Some of it is significant. One part of it really is significant, but still, the Colton, they don't make assassins like they used to. They just don't.
Well, it's not really a well-respected profession anymore.
No, no. I mean, I guess we don't live in Venice, but still. I mean, come on, man. This guy's backstory is just nuts. It is absolutely nuts. Like it is completely freaking insane.
I'm honestly just
I
surprised he was legally allowed in the same state as the president.
I'm
As the president, candidate.
I mean I mean he is very much the reason why asylums existed. It's just, insanity. Like I am so this guy just to preface, in 2002, I believe it was in Greenville, North Carolina, the assassin got into a standoff with police inside of a roofing store because he was driving with a suspended license. From what I have read, that was the entire reason behind it. Like, actually, I'll just go ahead and read it. This is from 2002. An armed man was arrested Monday morning after barricading himself in a business during a 3-hour standoff. Routh, 36, was arrested without incident at 1 a.m. Monday at United Roofing in Greensboro, North Carolina. He was pulled over about 10 p.m. during a traffic stop, but he essentially, grabbed a gun and drove off, parked outside of a roofing shop, barricaded it, and, just sort of, I don't know. I don't know what his plan was there, but clearly this is not a very stable person.
I think
Would
he's
you?
the most clear candidate I've ever seen for diagnosing someone for schizophrenia over Twitter.
Yes, yes. Uh, th- there was some, there is something off with this guy, and I say that because yes, he is alive. Um, so on September 15th, while Trump was golfing, he Secret Service spotted a gun barrel poking through a chain link fence while he was at the fifth hole. And based on the pictures, Colton and I believe that the firearm in question is an SKS, not actually an AK variant like the media is reporting. But that being said, I mean, I guess it fires the same round.
It's all really the same at the end of the
Se-
day.
7.62 Soviet. And yeah, so this guy was only 200 yards away. So again, it looks like the Secret Service isn't really, keeping a very good watch. If, there is an obvious place where somebody can hide to shoot that was not being covered. And they apparently noticed it by dumb luck. That being said, yeah, they wound up catching him. Who was in Martin County, Florida. And of interest, apparently, DeSantis is where it happened in Florida. DeSantis is becoming involved in the investigation. I have read that very recently. And also of interest is that his son has come out and said afterward, who I believe is his only living relative or the only living relative who has been acknowledged. But his son has said that his dad hates Trump like all reasonable people, but he's never owned a gun and wouldn't do anything batshit crazy. That's per his son. So, yeah,
He's acting like forming a PMC from Afghan refugees and former military is not also batshit crazy.
yes. I mean, it's perfectly, yes. And it's not a joke. He has, assembled a private military company, a PMC, to aid Ukraine, which he was facilitating by getting, Lord, there was something I think like 300,000 Afghanis trained by the U.S. before the debacle of the American pullout. When the Taliban took over, there is no real love there. So a lot of them are trying to flee. He was facilitating getting them fake Pakistani passports to get them flown to Ukraine in exchange for them fighting for Ukraine.
If you've seen
As an
any
American,
videos, well, hang on. If you've seen any videos of these Afghan recruits and they're not good, like they're just warm bodies.
they are warm bodies. They are warm bodies. That is it. They can hold a gun.
And maybe point them in the right direction,
They,
considering the language barrier.
maybe, but yeah, I don't want to weigh in too much on that conflict because like there's all sorts of things to unpack on the Ukraine Russia conflict.
Yeah, well, pretty much the thing that needs to be said though is that this guy, via his own Twitter, that hadn't yet been pulled down by the three-letter agencies, he was very, very. His whole personality for like the past 2 years has been about Ukraine.
Yeah, like, it's nuts. And the reality is, there's no way he is not connected because of what he was doing there to a number of American officials. Which that will be interesting to see how that pans out and how they differentiate themselves from that. I mean, the guy was even there's like a 10-minute interview with the guy with Newsweek regarding his involvement in Ukraine. Although, you know what? I have to assume Colton and you and I are on some watch lists.
Hmm.
So to our FBI handlers who are listening, come on. That guy's Twitter account was up for like 4 hours after that. What, you had the Vegas shooter stuff down in like minutes. It seems like you're slipping. And when I think of the FBI or the CIA, I think of people that are very good at covering shit up. And you really dropped the ball on this one. Try to do better.
Well, maybe they're just, they've gotten the moniker of sloppy job lately, so maybe
That's a secret service.
I would give that to pretty much every government agency, but
Uh oh Lord.
alphabet boys, clean it up. Not me.
What is it? The Federal Elections Commission? They're cool. They're cool.
They are nice guys.
No, no, like seriously, the people listening, they're like, as far as like people that are just chill with their jobs, like they're really good with it. Like a few years ago, I was calling to ask, you know, how to go about the initial paperwork of filing for status as a PAC. And yeah, I told them I worked in politics, and their immediate response is, oh, I'm sorry. It's like, yeah, you feel my pain. like like they're cool shit, just straight up. They're like the one bureaucratic wing that I actually like. They're self-aware. They understand. They get it. But anyway, there was one interesting thing found in his possessions that were left on the site, and that was a GoPro camera.
Ominous.
Very ominous.
Like, what was he going to post? And this is
I don't
assuming
know.
he gonna live stream it? Like,
I don't fucking know.
and
What
yeah,
the hell?
he was 200 yards away, his head in a bush, looking down a scope. Like, what was he gonna post?
Maybe a video afterward, hoping that he wouldn't immediately get shot by the Secret Service. And as of now, I am still hearing some conflicting reports about whether or not he actually got a shot off.
I've pretty much just been going under the assumption that he hasn't.
I am under the assumption that he hasn't, but I've read somewhere where suppose some sources are saying all shots came from Secret Service, while others are saying that so many shots were fired, but they're not sure how many were actually exchanged from either side.
I'm just confused at how the Secret Service managed to miss that many times.
Yeah. Oh my God.
He had
I
time to
mean,
get up from his sniper nest, go
he
to his
managed.
car.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he had to either crawl under a hole he made in a fence or climb over a fence. And that's
No.
still like he was stopped for a point in time.
He, no, he didn't have to go over a fence. Like it was like in the bushes by a road.
Even then,
like
I'm sure there's like a road ballard. Like he couldn't just go directly to his car.
like he had to cross a road. He had to cross a street.
That's a lot of shots to miss.
Admittedly, it was at 200 yards, but if you've got Secret Service there, you should have somebody who's going to hit that shot.
I'm assuming that all of these guys should be former military, and they need to qualify at 300 yards, right?
I am not assuming anything about the Secret Service at this point. I'm not even assuming that they've been trained at all.
Robert, I'm just I still believe in standards, and I'm going to hold them to that fake standard in my head.
Oh, I judge them based on that standard, but I'm not going to pretend that they actually meet it.
What a mess.
Ah, so yes, this guy, he wasn't he was politically vocal on Twitter, but it was mostly about, you know, Ukraine. During the Republican primary, he did say that Ramaswamy and Nikki Haley should form a ticket together, which I'm trying to think of something less likely than that. I mean, he was basically trying to say that so the two could take on Trump. So, guy really doesn't like Trump. And to my understanding, his last posts were in the aftermath of the last Trump assassination attempt, when he was saying Kamala and Biden should visit Butler, Pennsylvania, because Trump clearly won't do anything to help the people that were shot, even though he immediately did.
I don't think they made it public that he did until the RNC convention, but
He was already posting links to donate money, and he raised a lot of money for the families.
yeah, I don't know. I don't have Truth Social, so I didn't see
Yeah,
any of that.
it was also being posted by like his kids on Twitter, so it was around. You could see it.
Fucking
But yeah,
crazy.
the guy was a nut job, putting it
Well,
nicely.
anyways, to move forward though, besides just separate events, I don't really think that this is going to have any measurable effect on the election, and I made a $10 bet with Robert that this wouldn't be talked about next weekend at all.
I think it will be, just because they took the assassin alive. And I think it will still be making the rounds, because there is no way that this guy is not connected to quite a few people in Washington just because of what he was doing. I
Mm,
think it is impossible that he is not.
I think because of that, they're not going to talk about it. I'm talking about like mainstream. I'm not, like internet detectives and internet celebrities.
Considering that, though, believe it or not, I actually believe, your internet people have a lot more influence than mainstream media now. I mean, even Young Turks, for example, can be regarded as media people, and they're very popular on the left. And then, you've got Tucker Carlson, who is very influential, and he will probably be talking about it. I think he's got a larger audience than Fox. So I don't think internet people are insignificant.
I do, just because I don't think it's going to have an effect on the election.
Uh,
I think all of those people that you named, besides the Young Turks, you know, they already have their audience. I don't think their audience is growing. I think it's just they're going to become more fervent and more raging.
mm,
Not in a negative way, but like they're going to want to go out and vote.
I think I think that is a measurable impact on the election. Enthusiasm is a huge deal. Getting people to actually turn out and vote is a huge deal, especially for Republicans, because they tend to vote on election day instead of voting early. They overwhelmingly tend to turn out on election day.
Yeah, but
The
how many events now have happened that are like, gonna boost a Republican turnout? I feel like everyone was already gonna go vote. That's what I'm saying. You've already reached the critical mass. You're just adding more flame to it.
But I mean, I think that like this election is coming down, like all elections, to a bunch of swing states, and these are swing states where when Trump is on the ballot, Republicans turn out in droves, but they don't. They tend to turn out in less volume when he is not. And I think this ups that even more, which I think helps him in swing states, especially given again and again when we had voter registration operations ongoing. One of the things that people would constantly say is that, oh, we don't trust elections because you know the government just sort of does whatever the hell it wants. And people like that are the kind of people who can see two assassination attempts against Trump and be like, you know what, I'm going to vote for the guy that they keep trying to kill. I'm sort of characterizing that block, but that seems like something that block would do. So I do think it will have some impact on the election.
Yeah,
Ah,
I mean, I could see that, but for like the one that was like 8 weeks ago,
yeah.
not this one.
Uh, but yes. And this guy was also a we'll call him a nuclear war aficionado. I'm just going to read one of his tweets. Somebody posted about how Britain supports Ukraine's right to attack Russia's territory and use Western donated munitions to do so. To which his response was, exactly, we do not stop until Putin is dead and Moscow is a pile of rubble. I am in Ukraine and not leaving until Moscow is gone. We need the 1,400 nuclear warheads that were removed 30 years ago. This guy clearly does not understand the concept of escalation.
Also, he's a liar. He did leave.
He did, and he stayed there. Well, he didn't stay there. He's a liar. He left Ukraine. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been in Florida today. So shame on him. But I do think that he also had a very distinct lack of political intuition. As I'm going to read another one of his posts, and you tell me how brilliant this is. All right, Colt.
Hmm.
At Hillary Clinton. This is in 2020. Why are you not running with Joe Biden? Come on, you are not my favorite, but we all must do our part to get rid of this idiot that is in the White House. Please do the world a favor. Because Hillary Clinton is just, the perfect candidate, obviously.
I think a Hillary Clinton VP would have actually made Biden lose.
I think it would have. I think a lot of people don't understand quite how unpopular she was. But yes, so clearly not a political genius, but still. And I can't find it, but he also had like this funny as hell take on gun rights. I can't find it anymore now that it's been taken down. But it was something akin to in order to buy a gun, you can't you can't have ever used pot. So you don't know if you'll ever smoke pot in the future. That means you can't legally own a gun. Yeah. So He was basically saying that and saying, "Oh, then you can send all the guns to Ukraine." Shit like that. But still, it was just funny as hell.
All right, then, should we wrap this up to the other topic, the long-awaited debate results?
Yeah. So, depending on who you're listening to, that pretty much decides, who you probably think won the debate. On broadly speaking, most people say Harris won. I don't. I don't really think Harris. I don't think Harris did what she needed to do, which was distance herself from Biden enough. And as what was it during the course of the debate? It was ABC had their panel of Republicans, Independents, and Democrats, where they actually had one of the gauge things where you hold it in your hand and you adjust it to how much you're agreeing or disagreeing with what somebody is saying. And whenever Trump talked about economics and immigration, independents were actually agreeing with Trump more than Republicans, which is a pretty good sign for Trump. That being said, that was a 3-on-1 debate. As fun little tidbit, one of the moderators, the woman named Lindsay, she has since then come out and said that the reason they never fact checked Kamala was that they never made any preparations to fact check Kamala. Now, it could be argued that, depending on your point of view on that, it could be argued that that's justified or not. And Colton, do you believe in coincidences?
Well, I'd have to hear what the other part of the coincidence is.
Do you believe it's a coincidence that she was also Kamala Harris's sorority sister in college?
I don't think that's a coincidence. I think that's just a fact.
Do you think it's a coincidence that they decided not to fact check her and that she was Kamala's sorority sister in college?
I don't think it has anything to do with it. I think it's just because it was ABC. They're not a real network.
This is true. I also think it might have something to do with the fact that Kamala Harris and her husband were introduced by the CEO of ABC.
I wish I knew
So
a
yeah,
CEO.
hmm?
I said I wish I knew a CEO to introduce me to powerful people.
Yeah.
Well,
Regrettably, the CEOs that I know are not the. It's more, like a business relationship than a, close personal friendship.
they wouldn't play matchmaker for you, Robert.
I don't really need it.
Well,
Uh,
I would
I'm
say,
spoken for.
I would say that you need better CEO friends, ones that are willing to do the needful for you.
Yeah. My wife might have questions. Uh, but the other tidbit that came out of that was quite honestly, where is it? Well, since the debate, an affidavit has been released, well, has become known that comes from ABC employees.
Employees or one employee?
To my understanding, it's signed by one, but the person also has documents signed by others. Uh, Indicating that the questions in the debate were shared with Harris prior to the debate, which there's actually, there's reason to believe that that could be a thing. We saw that in 2016 when debate questions were shared with Clinton in advance. And give me just a moment because I'm trying to find. Okay, here we are. Of note, uh, the affidavit was signed and notarized on September 9th, which means that it was notarized prior to the debate between Trump and Harris. Several copies of the affidavit were sent to various sources and political leaders uh, to display that so it was postmarked the day before the debate. Uh, they are, we don't have this yet, but they claim to be in possession of several recorded conversations that prove that the Harris campaign insisted not only that the fact checking of, not, yeah, excuse me, insisted not only on the fact checking of Donald Trump, but also insisted on what questions were not to be asked under any circumstances, or the Harris campaign would decline to participate in the debate. Essentially, meaning Harris not only got to, which, if true, which at this point I'm sort of inclined to believe, um, and I can explain why I believe it shortly. But I am inclined to believe it. Well, but essentially, excuse me, if this is true, it means that Harris essentially got to choose her own questions in the debate. So, yeah, I don't think the debate matters anymore. No, I don't think the debate itself matters. I think that if this catches wind and gets some circulation, which I would honestly not be surprised if even CNN picked this up. CNN has been highly critical of the debate. So, yeah. But anyway, the reason I believe it, and I've seen a lot of presidential debates in my life. Lord, I still remember back when, what was it, Bob Dole and Clinton were debating. And anyway, the reason I believe it is, and I encourage people to go back and watch this, just because it's not something you probably notice the first time you look at it. But Kamala always seemed to be, she always seemed very confident when asked a question. But whenever she was rebutting, she always appeared to be flustered. So I'm actually inclined to believe it. Now, I may be wrong. I'm wrong on a lot of things. But given what has already been displayed as abundant bias by the network, I think it's more likely than not. Do you have any thoughts?
Um, I guess some background information for the viewers. I really wanted to post a picture of that meme of a tombstone that says, "Here lies conservatism." And then the epitaph on the tombstone says, "Wow, imagine if this situation was reversed."
Yeah.
And that pretty much sums up my thoughts of basically everything we've talked about tonight. Is that there's a whole bunch of stuff that the right and conservatives are outraged about, and then nothing will become of any of it.
Which it's a shame. There's a lot of this stuff that very much warrants being looked into.
Well, we live in
And
such a polarized time that people don't care about the events or anything. It's just about my team, their team, and nothing can be done to switch sides because at this point, for a lot of people, politics is their personality, and
it is.
it would look schizophrenic to change their personality all of a sudden. So people are averse to doing that.
Yeah, it's uh it's a real shame. Though I I do have to end with one question, Colton.
Hmm.
In relation to the assassination, and part of the reason why I think it will carry some weight in the coming days. Donald Trump randomly decided that he was going to go golfing today.
When does he not golf?
It was not on his schedule. It was not public knowledge that he was going to go golf.
He golfs in every day ending with Y.
Not exactly. He golfs a lot. But how did this person know? This wasn't at his this wasn't at Mar-Lago, by the way. This was at a different golf course. How did he know that Trump was going to be at that golf course? Especially given that if he was home visiting the States, his home is in Hawaii.
I'd reckon it's pretty easy to follow a presidential motorcade or a presidential candidate motorcade.
So that speaks to incompetence by Secret Service again, not recognizing you're being followed.
I mean, I think if he went to a public course, then like, I don't think he went to, if he went to any golf course, it's like, hey, where he's leaving Mar-a-Lago, where's he going? I don't know. Probably got bored of the course at home. Where else does he go that doesn't go immediately to the airport?
Yeah, I don't know. But still, I mean, it also begs the question of how he got his gun. Which, if it is an AK, given the length of it, it's a Dragonov. So that's actually a good gun.
Rest in peace, Dragonov. You belonged on my shelf.
Hell of a gun, actually. But anyway, I believe we've sort of covered everything that we wanted to cover. So, to you poor bastards still listening, thank you for having done so. Please like and subscribe. We're looking to grow the channel and appreciate any support we can get. And otherwise, we hope you'll hope you learned something and you'll watch our next video. Have a good day, everybody.
Have a good one.